So this is Home, A Story of Light. Go ahead and read the about this game part. Grayson, the 12-year-old son of great British inventor Joseph Swan, an intelligent if lonely child, he lives a sheltered life within their family home in Newcastle with a devoted pet mouse as his only true companion. For reasons unclear to him, Joseph forces Grayson to move in with his estranged auntie and uncle somewhere in the Yorkshire countryside. All is peaceful for a time, until a letter arrives, one that triggers a series of events that thrust Grayson and the mouse out into the world all by themselves. Together they set forth on a perilous journey through the northeast of Victorian England, solving challenging puzzles along the way and confronting hidden truths that force Grayson to explore what home really means. The key features are a warm but melancholic tale designed to be played snuggled up by candlelight, an intriguing if subtle alternative history narrative that reveals itself as the plot develops, point-and-click adventure game puzzles with simple modern interface, dynamic interplay between Grayson and the mouse, swapping perspective and control when the time is right, lovingly crafted hand-drawn animations that evoke classic point-and-click adventures, emotive music and sound composed and captured in-house. The mouse. You're going to like the mouse. Whilst the demo will be available in the listed languages, the full game will primarily be released in English with English subtitles. However, we will be implementing stretch goals during our Kickstarter campaign to provide subtitles in additional languages. It is a much shorter demo than, say, Scarlet Deer Inn or Dementia. It only took me about half an hour to play through it, and the puzzles were not the hardest, especially not if you like point-and-click adventure games. Some of it was pretty obvious, but I do see where the design in them definitely has promise going forward into the rest of the game. Now, as you'll see on the initial screen, they're just getting ready to do a Kickstarter. I went and visited the Kickstarter page, and that has not actually been put together yet. So they're still winding up for that. But they've already put a good deal of work behind this. The Steam store link will be down in the description, so if you want to add it to your wish list, you can. This is obviously a game that is not yet playable. I kind of do these to try to help boost awareness and help people along. Settings are straightforward, not a whole lot to see here. I apparently have just the most sensitive little ears in the world, so I have a tendency to turn the music down, but not the voices and sound effects because I really like to hear those. I just have a tendency to have problems hearing things over the music. You will notice, however, that there is no controller support. Another thing to know about this game is that it is fully narrated, and the narration is absolutely beautiful. Here is a snippet of that.
Not all stories start with a bang. Some stories start with a squeak. The mouse was acting very peculiar. Anxiously, it scampered for the safety of Grayson's cloak. And even stranger still, Grayson didn't recognize where they were. Swiftly standing to attention, Grayson surveyed the room. It was odd. The place felt familiar, yet unfamiliar at the same time.
Now, I will say at this point that I do feel that the audio balance in terms of the narration versus the music is a little off. Even though I turned down the music, I feel the narration is kind of lost and needs to be boosted a little bit. I know that since the game's not finished, the developer has plenty of time to fix that kind of thing. It's just one of those things that I think people should pay attention to. And of course, here it fades into the first scene, which again, this is all hand animated. This isn't something that they used a computer to generate. And in my opinion, it looks absolutely gorgeous. If you are someone who is old enough to remember Adventures of Monkey Island or other point and click games such as that, the interface will seem very familiar, but at the same time, it's actually quite clean and even feels, I guess, a little modernized. And when I say things have been modernized, I mean they've been kind of made more sleek, in some ways a little more subtle, but at the same time definitely there. For example, the way the pointer works, it definitely signals your direction without being too obtuse about it. And then at the same time, when you choose to try to interact with an object, it gives you the options there in a more contained sort of way, where you have the ability to interact, the ability to examine, or the ability to try to interact with the mouse, your little friend mouse, that is. And I do find that actually very nice. It keeps everything together and quite straightforward, which might be why I felt some of the puzzles felt a little easier than maybe they should have, because there is no guessing around at interaction. If you click on something and there is a possibility of interaction with it, even if you don't necessarily know what it is at that moment, then at least you get something. I will say I never did find anything to do with this drain pipe, so while you can interact with everything, I wouldn't say everything has something that you can do with it. And when I say this game is fully narrated, I mean it is fully narrated.
The downpipe was heavy with quick-flowing rainwater that gushed into the drain. The trolley looked to be in good working order. A small tower of crates was placed next to the kitchen doorway. The crates were perfectly stacked. Grayson didn't want to ruin them.
Of course, like any point-and-click game, there are things to be found within the environment, pieces to pick up, places to search, and of course things to even combine. And they do make it pretty, like I said, straightforward. Of course, this style of game is never going to be particularly complicated. The gameplay is straightforward. It's, point and click. It's point and click. There's not really a whole lot more to say about it. Point, click, and drag. It's about where you point, where you click, and putting the narrative together yourself. So when it comes to mechanics, other than saying I think this has a really clean interface and I didn't find finding things too tedious, but at the same time I didn't feel like they just gave everything to me, it's really the best thing I can say about this kind of game. The puzzles, which I'll show you the little quick bits of how I figured the part about getting that rain barrel to move, really weren't that impossible, but also, again, not so easy that I felt like they just gave it to me. I had to find the hoof nippers. I had to then use the horse nippers to remove the barrel bung, and then I had to actually go back and use the horse nippers to get the can of Vaseline out of the ground before I could continue setting the fire to get the cook out of the kitchen. And of course, there are a few other things that happen in there. I don't like to tell you everything in case you do want to go through and experience the demo for yourself. But as I said, it's not a very long demo, so there's only so much I can say, really. Overall, I think this will be a really nice game when it finally comes out. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I can't say play the game, I can't say buy the game because it's not out yet, but definitely give the demo a try. Look over some of their stuff and put it on your wish list. Maybe encourage them to get that Kickstarter going a little faster so that they can actually get the game out. I know a lot of the game design process, especially as a smaller indie studio, can be just keeping yourself motivated. So as I've said a few times now, I do think this game has a bit of promise. If you are interested, please go ahead and give it a wish list. I know that the creators would be appreciative. I, however, am very appreciative of your time here. Thank you so much for spending it with me, and let me know what you think of this down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.